눈을 감으면 여긴 open space 우릴 이어줄 무한한 공간이 돼 자연스럽게 따라가면 돼 같은 꿈에서 기다린 그곳으로 어둑했었던 널 향한 모든 게 선명해져가 It's almost magical 천천히 getting closer 두근대는 네 느낌 yeah. 신비로운 universe 나를 가득 비추어 지금 너의 떨린 숨결마저 잡힐 듯 가까워 우리만의 universe 더 선명해진 모든 걸 가슴 벅차게 펼쳐둘 순간을 make it come true Make it happen to you 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 네 방 창가에 닿고 싶던 밤 빛을 달리고 거리를 더 좁혔네 궤도마저 내게 기울어진 순간을 위해 태어난 것만 같이 전하고 싶었던 널 향한 모든 게 투명해져가 It's almost a miracle 밤새워 getting closer 나를 비춘 네 눈빛 신비로운 universe 나를 가득 비추어 지금 너의 떨린 숨결마저 잡힐 듯 가까워 우리만의 universe 더 선명해진 모든 걸 가슴 벅차게 펼쳐둘 순간을 make it come true Make it happen to you Make it happen to you 내 모든 빛을 내게 Make it happen to you Make it happen to you 끝없이 바래온 걸 realize 이제야 찾은 듯해 더 선명한 네 곁에 닿길 난 간절히 기도했어 저기 내 universe 화려하게 비추어 눈이 멀 것 같은 순간마저 끝없이 가까워 너는 나의 universe 널 향해 날아가는 걸 잊을 수 없게 새겨둔 그 빛을 make it come true Make it happen to you Make it happen to you 말없이 비춰줄게 Make it happen to you Make it happen to you
Good evening and welcome back to Iridinod Rhythmgates, where last we saw there was an enormous bronze colossus stomping around the landscape because I think we let it out to deal with the rock and it hasn't come back or something. Or did we let? No, we let it out to deal with an invading goblin army, didn't we? Something like that. Let's have a look at the combat logs and see. Well, okay, yes, it went out and dealt with a bunch of trolls, and then got distracted by visiting scholars, as happens.
Dwarf Scholar Death Zombie.
Yes.
Necromancer should know that.
Well, I think merely someone who had been converted by a necromancer into.
No, there was an actual necromancer gesturing in that log.
Oh, was there? Oh, joy. Thank you. Possibly not that one. Probably that one.
Yes.
Oh, yes. The Dwarf Scholar Necromancer, the Dwarf Scholar Death Zombie shudders and begins to move. Yes, okay, so the Necromancer is going to make life entertaining by repeatedly reviving people whom the Bronze Colossus has killed. I just want the Bronze Colossus to come back indoors.
Hang a bowl with a spoon.
Like, well, no, we've got a kitten waiting for it.
You have to bang a bowl with a spoon to get the kitten to stay there.
But the Bronze Colossus is persistently hanging around outside rather than coming and saying hello to the kitten, because there are all these yummy scholars out there. So yes, this may be an entertaining problem. At least until the Bronze Colossus manages to kill. Well, the Death Zombie has been killed again. But the Necromancer's still alive. The Necromancer is called Thingamee. So they haven't actually interacted with the Bronze Colossus for a little while. Where are they? They are right next to
Well,
it.
they didn't, that last evidence of the log said the Bronze Colossus was letting go of the Necromancer's toe.
Yes, but that was in the Necromancer's log. The Bronze Colossus has done a bunch of stuff since then.
Oh, yeah. Lots of separate logs,
But now the Necromancer is repeatedly reviving scholars. At least, well, once they regained consciousness, they went back to reviving scholars in order to provide the poor, well, not very poor, Bronze Colossus with more people to attack. So the Bronze Colossus is actually attacking the Necromancer a bit, but not vice versa. And they're all doing it on sloping land in order to make life extra confusing. That looked like a dying Necromancer. No, that was a dying Death Zombie, wasn't it? Asob Licotrimad is not our... but something has killed the Necromancer, which means that the scholars should... I have closed the library to visitors, haven't I? No, let's stop the scholars arriving again. Citizens only for now, until we've dealt with this. The general rule should be, if there's something dangerous on the surface, we should close the library to visitors in the hopes that that will stop people arriving. Because, well, otherwise we just end up with a lot of dead scholars. Right, I think the... So we still have a fair number of scholars out there. This does suggest that I need a better... Okay, if it's your family heirloom, does that mean I should set it up in your bedroom? So Sigan Fathzimkel has created Udvir, a tower cap cabinet. Yes. It's fairly boring, but it is encrusted with pear-cut yellow zircons, decorated with fungi wood and encircled with bands of fungi wood. And it menaces with spikes of tower cap, tetrahedrite and silver. Made by Sigan Fathzimkel. that's their bedroom. Well, they could do with the cabinet because they've left clothes all over the floor. There we go. Have a cabinet. Yeah, we clearly need better mechanisms on the surface for tempting. We should set up lots of little branch libraries on the surface to tempt scholars into, so that they don't get slaughtered so much. Bronze Colossus appears to be stationary, but involved in several fights. Oh right, the foolish Bronze Colossus is trying to strangle a death zombie. This probably doesn't work because I bet the death zombie doesn't breathe anymore. I mean, this is doubtless entertaining for the two of them, but meanwhile the death zombie is punching the Bronze Colossus, but the Bronze Colossus, being made of bronze, doesn't really care. And similarly, biting it is probably just a good way to end up with broken teeth. Though, to be fair, we don't seem to be ending up with lots of teeth all over the floor, so that's probably for the best. We've got a death zombie and a Bronze Colossus in a fight. The Bronze Colossus appears to be trying to strangle the death zombie, which is not doing very well, because I think the death zombie doesn't breathe. And the death zombie is biting the Bronze Colossus, which doesn't work because the Bronze Colossus is made of bronze. So there's a small danger that this fight will keep going for quite some time. Nope. Don't know. It definitely seems to be the case. Well, I'll leave them to it for now. Maybe I'll build them a library later. Meanwhile, of course, we have been exploring the new lower caverns, which have new colours of wood in them. So we've got Bloodthorn, which is dark red, and Blackcap, which is, well, dark grey really, because nothing is properly black in this game. And Nethercap, which is this almost invisible dark blue. Sorry, I have heard comments that the stream may not be working properly, so I'm going to briefly peer at YouTube says I'm sending the right amount of data, so YouTube thinks all is well. Yes, so Nethercap is of course an entertaining substance because it is weirdly homeothermic. Is that the word I want? In that it is permanently stuck at the same temperature as freezing water. Which can have entertaining consequences for physics. I'm just finding extra bits of gem that I can mine. I can also mine some adamantine if I'm feeling brave. Some of it is probably safe. But yes, in addition to that, in that way. Someone's busy trying not to fall over. Just going, is there anything there that I can mine? No, let's go up another level. That, which will require coming up from there. Which is tricky because there isn't a there. Yeah, okay, I can see why I haven't attempted to mine that section yet, because it's quite tricky to get to. I will answer your question in a moment, David, once I've worked out what I'm doing here, because sorting out mining is slightly twiddly. Let's make that an eye as well. Right, so death zombies are a kind of what Dwarf Fortress calls intelligent, well, what at least the wiki calls intelligent undead, which means that unlike normal zombies, they're not just shambling husks. They retain their abilities and I think relationships and loyalties and so forth that they had while alive, and so are much more useful in many respects, and in particular in the case of these death zombies, actually that's not what I meant, is it? They will thus remain as scholars and will be able to and will thus not, for instance, fight one another or fight other living scholars, and indeed will be quite capable of going to the library and getting into the usual kind of scholarly arguments. But yes, and not just try to kill anyone who's alive like an ordinary zombie would. Yes. Just like in this case, you get to carry on doing it after you're dead.
That's surely an ROU. ROU, just the usual cut and thrust of academic debate.
What ROU is?
Rapid offensive unit.
Oh, yes.
Culture warship as opposed to culture explorership.
Well, yeah. Once you said the word offensive, it was obvious what it was. I just couldn't remember the acronym.
There's still an awful lot of this set of caverns. They go up a very long way. Let's mine out that section. Because that one's easily reached. And we'll get people a bit closer. They're still fighting. I mean, this probably means that we could just leave them there for a while, because I mean, the death zombie is finding new ways to attack. Kicking now, but kicking doesn't seem to be working either. Probably if we could airdrop a steel axe to her, she would actually be able to have some effect on the poor bronze colossus.
Unfortunately, to get an axe there, because you need to get a sensible dwarf there.
Yeah.
And that runs A certain risk.
runs the risk of the Bronze Colossus deciding that actually the dwarf that isn't functionally immortal, or at least immune to being strangled, is a better target. I mean, like, if the Bronze Colossus thinks for a bit and tries doing something other than strangling this zombie, things will it will do rather better. But being a brainless Bronze Colossus, it doesn't think of this. So what I could do as a start... Jacob says, airdrop an axe, side quest. Yeah. I think she'll only pick it up if it's actually in her square. Thing is, and it's going to be quite hard to achieve that. Because the last thing we want is for the Bronze Colossus to change its attack style. Because as soon as it does, it's likely to successfully kill her. I mean, to an extent, that solves our problem as well. But it's not the problem I would like. The problem solved the way I'd like it solved. Anyway, what I'm going to do for now is to try to at least be able to clear out the inside of the ballista passage. While it isn't actually full of Bronze Colossus. This obviously first involves sealing it off from the outside world. We've still got elk birds kicking around in our dining area, have we?
Truly kicking.
Possibly, yes.
My mental image of an elk bird is that it's not too dissimilar to an ostrich.
Yeah, I think, except that ostriches don't have antlers.
Well,
Yes, I think that's certainly they are, I believe, large, herbivorous. I think flightless. Walks on two legs, has the head of a bird with the antlers of a great elk. I do actually have an official original crayon drawing of an elk bird by the authors of Dwarf Fortress. Because I've been contributing to their Patreon forever, and thus you got. I think they've stopped doing this now. They're working on the official Steam release of the game, a crayon artwork of your choice. And since I've managed to breed elk birds, I have a picture of a dwarf seeing a tiny elk bird chick emerging from an egg. But yes, we do have a bunch of elk birds around that are causing possibly enough trouble to be worth killing, but I'm not sure. Maybe I should just erect a couple of cage traps and let them get caught. Yes, Jacob has posted to IRC what I'm fairly confident is the relevant file, since it was probably uploaded by BGH21. Yeah, that's the one. Which suggests that they have fairly significant wings as well. Right, anyway, but so thus we're currently allowing the elk birds to live even though they're causing minor disruption. So at some point someone is going to come along and pull the lever that will seal off the ballista alley from the outside world, and then we can open up its connection to the fortress and clear out the rubbish from it. Rubbish here being mostly troll corpses. There we go. Clang! Right, that worked at least. So now we should be able to pull the ballista access lever. And meanwhile, mark a bunch of stuff as worth keeping, and then a bunch of other stuff as really not worth keeping, like all these rotten bits of trolls.
No, we weren't using them. Probably.
Alright, a creepy crawler has managed to get itself into the fortifications. Right, so at some point someone should come up and pull that lever. So yes, there's a bunch of miners down in the very lowest of the low caverns. Also, the elk birds are, of course, helping to keep any other... Alright, it appears that it is possible to get to this square of convenient gems without actually having to go to the ground, without actually having to dig all these tunnels. Possibly by clambering over... climbing up a tree somewhere. Yep, there we go. No, that was going in a slightly different direction. Yes, there. It's apparently possible to deal with it by climbing trees, and not necessary to make that stupid tunnel at all. So, maybe I should just cancel the designation of all of that tunnel now, because someone's found an easier way to get there. Oh, except for that bit. Yes, these are the various trees on the third level of the caverns. And so they are... they have new and exciting kinds of wood. Now tagging everything for mining as it becomes visible. We appear to have two intersecting gem clusters here, which is breaking the auto mining algorithm rather. Because I think its rule is if you're auto mining a square, then if mining it out exposes another square of the same type, then that will be marked for mining as well. But this means if you have two clusters touching one another, then mining one of them may expose the other type, and that will not be marked for also be marked for mining. So yes, it is rather made of stones. There is a hungry creature. Does it have a name, or can I just kill it? It has a name. Probably shouldn't slaughter named goats.
That's probably useful.
Well, it's going to die of starvation soon. Dwarves are very slowly lugging rotting troll corpses downstairs in order to dispose of them. May not be the best approach. Meanwhile, how are things going with the death zombie? Still at it.
I feel that you could probably kill them both by building a ballista next to them, which they wouldn't interfered with because they wouldn't notice.
We'd have to build it a little way away because the ballista operators would get scared.
Fair enough.
But yes, well, no, we can't because the bronze colossus can't stand up, and so you can't hit it with a ballista.
Oh, they're having this entire fight lying down.
But one of them is the bronze colossus doesn't have working legs anymore. We broke them with the ballista ages ago. I think it's possible that the death zombie is thus standing up. At least will be until we shoot it.
I suppose bronze colossus is large. It can probably reach the death zombie's neck even lying down.
Yes. Yes, the bronze colossus is huge. So I think now much of our population is busy hauling rotting troll corpses downstairs. Well, there was a visiting necromancer scholar. They revived another scholar who had got killed by the bronze colossus and revived them as a death zombie. And they're now, and the necromancer has been killed, but by the bronze colossus, but the death zombie who was revived by the said necromancer is happily fighting the bronze colossus to the, well, very much evitable end, it appears, in that they are
Evitable.
perfectly good word. As neither of them actually seem to have worked out. Well, I think the scholar has probably worked out that nothing that they're doing is having any useful effect, but there's nothing else they can do. Like,
And they're trying, punching, kicking, scratching, and biting. So it's not
Yeah.
so-
it's the bronze colossus that's being foolish. Yes, the trolls were a vile horde of darkness, all of which got killed, all bar one of which, I think one of them got away, got killed by the bronze colossus. Strictly, I think vile forces of darkness are... Actually, I think those are attacks by goblin civilizations. So often the vile forces of darkness here have creatures that aren't goblins including trolls, which are fairly common, and in our case dwarves as well. Yes, the bronze colossus is proving an effective defence, at least as long as you don't mind the occasional death of a scholar. But so are you all just going to leave all this lovely stuff up here then? So here come the vast majority of the dead trolls to be dumped in the atom smasher. And we've got quite a lot of gems available down here now, which is nice. There's still plenty of them to that are still marked for mining. So what? So that square is right, and the death zombie is actually above and to the west of the
Oh, that's to the west.
yes, the bronze colossus, and of course has come back to life naked after dying, because you drop all your possessions when you die, including things that you're wearing. And he's quite seriously injured.
That is not the face down with drops. Or face drops, as they're more accurately known.
And to be fair, the bronze colossus is looking fairly badly damaged now.
Hang on. It's got no hands.
That's true. Oh yes, I think we...
With what is it strangling this for?
Give me a moment, I'll look it up.
Legs.
I think, as I recall, it's something odd, like it's doing it with its feet. Even though its legs are both broken, that doesn't actually stop it using its feet for strangling things. We need to go back quite a long way in history, because it's been doing this strangling for a while.
This Colossus is basically the Black Knight from...
Okay, it may have been doing it for so long that we haven't actually got a record anymore of the of how it started. But I think actually it may possibly be doing I mean, obviously the game will still be remembering this, but I don't know of a way to ask it. I think it may be using its arms rather than its... And it's got its right upper leg is still working. Maybe it's using its right upper leg. But yes, there really isn't very much of it left. Possibly if we can get enough people up there with steel weaponry. I mean, to be fair, the gloved tundras do have quite a lot of steel between them. It would be a bit brave to send the bronze to send an actual military squad up there to take it on.
Now go out there and stop my combat log filling up with nonsense.
Yes. But they are, like, most of them have steel weapons. They're pretty well armoured. They know more or less what they're doing. And it's not like the Bronze Colossus has very many limbs left. Okay, let's be brave.
I have to say.
Let's just send the gloved tundras, because I suspect no one else really has good enough weaponry. Get them to move themselves up to the entrance of the fortress first. Okay, maybe they shouldn't go out while there's also a giantess out there. Because she may get into a fight with the Bronze Colossus. And we want to see who wins before we decide what we're doing next. So, charge! Who did she just get into a fight with? She's found another scholar to fight. Okay. No, you won't. What is Atangozo? What is your weird item you're carrying with you? Oh, it's a bow. Okay. Beating someone up with a bow is almost reasonable. I think she's managed to get quite badly injured, though. Yes. Was that the scholar who did that? Largely by biting her? Bruising her repeatedly by punching and scratching.
So despite the scary warning message, this giantess is, well, large, but not actually combat skilled in any great way.
Doesn't look like it. And and certainly susceptible to a particularly bitey scholar. But, like, did eventually manage to kill the said bitey scholar. Is now rather slower moving, owing to presumably having had her legs bitten too often. She's found another scholar. I mean, my general attitude is the scholars aren't members of the fortress, so I don't feel any obligation to save them. They're perfectly entitled to leave the map if they want to. So those two are doing the normal thing. Meanwhile, the giantess has passed out from exhaustion, and a scholar has bitten her in the head and is shaking her around vigorously, very slowly injuring her. No, I think the scholar in question is a perfectly ordinary dwarf. Be it not one that I can immediately find on my list. Maybe they just dropped dead. Sibrek Goranguted. Doesn't appear to be in the list of alive people. Ah, yes, has recently died. So probably some incident involving a giantess. But she's now passed out from exhaustion from all this fighting.
It looks like we're not going to be seeing the epic death match of giantess versus bronze colossus.
Well, not until she wakes up. We're not even going to get alerted to it. Yeah, I'm sure they think they have. That unfortunately means that the moment I open the front door, the merchants are going to leave, which will doubtless distract someone. Well, I mean, I say that, but on the other hand, the Bronze Colossus seems to be quite busy at the moment. The Giantess is unconscious, so it may actually be fairly safe to open the front door. It may not be any safer time soon to open the front door. Once we've done that, we may as well send the gloved tundras out to try to deal with the Bronze Colossus. So we're just waiting for someone to come and pull the lever. And then discover that that lever is in the wrong state because we last closed the door using the other lever. Because dwarves haven't discovered two-way switching yet. I'm sure someone will come and pull the lever in a moment. Right, now the front door is open and that lot can leave, and they are very sensibly leaving in the opposite direction to the direction in which the Giantess and okay, the Giantess died while that was going on. How did she die? Oh right, the Bronze Colossus. Right, the Bronze Colossus got distracted by the Giantess, or possibly, yeah, the Giantess went after the Dwarf Scholar Death Zombie, and eventually bashed the scholar in the head with her bow, which killed him or her. I didn't actually check. Then she met the Bronze Colossus, which successfully strangled her, which leaves me to wonder what's happened to the Bronze Colossus now. Right. I think in that case we should close the front door again. Probably means pulling that lever twice to get it into the right state. So I think that pulling of the lever will not close it. Unfortunately, people are going outside. No, we really don't want you going out there to collect objects. Does that also bring people indoors from the surface? Did I change that? Yes. Right, that's better. So I think we should just give a few moments for those people who are stuck outside to come in, and then pull that front door lever that's easily accessible again. Bunch of scholars are desperately running into the library. As long as the Bronze Colossus, I think one of them just went flying through the air, or possibly was killed. So where's the Bronze Colossus now? Still on the surface. Good. Let's release the gloved tundras, because I think we might now be able to get the bronze colossus back to where it belongs if we pull that lever in order to seal the ballista access passages. Check that no one is in the ballista alley. Pull that lever, no urgency to that one, in order to let the bronze colossus back in.
Oh, I missed it. Did the bronze colossus manage to stop strangling the zombie?
Yes, because the giant came along and killed the death zombie.
Ah.
Which is like...
That must have happened in the blink between the
Yes.
scholar and the giantess dying.
Yes, and then of course the bronze colossus was not distracted, and so very rapidly killed the giantess. Now my hope is that now the bronze colossus will detect that it can reach the kitten. And we'll go indoors, but I fear there may be a dwarf or two on the surface. Apparently Bronze Colossus is an anagram of Sol Curb Snooze, which it certainly does occasionally.
It may have been the one holding me. I carefully stopped it.
Right, so my dear Bronze Colossus, are you going to come and join us in our cupboard? Well, join a kitten in the cupboard. The kitten, though, will mysteriously turn out to be locked away from you. There is actually a scholar there.
Okay, join a kitten in a cupboard, stick a deck chair. No.
No, you appear to be in a standoff with this scholar. Like, are you two going to do anything, or are you just going to stand there, a knight's move away from one another? All right, finally something happened. What was it?
Just come up at night, sorry, I think they've changed scores. You know the two sheep, the sheep that make the first move thing? If you did two chess players playing white, each thinking he can make the first move.
Well, I mean, well done for beating the Bronze Colossus with your book. And you've apparently survived. But now, why? My dear Bronze Colossus, what are you doing? Go after the kitten. The kitten is nice. The kitten isn't going to beat you up with a book.
Oh God, there's another death book in this. In the action image, she's standing right half off the square, isn't she? But it's the one. I mean, this could be a bit.
I don't think the Bronze Colossus needs defending from scholars. No, that scholar's dead. See, that scholar's throat works perfectly well. Yes. The Bronze Colossus, being short of other limbs with which to do anything, places a chokehold on the scholar's throat with the Bronze Colossus's right upper leg. I'm pretty sure that was how it was doing it with the last one as well. Right, now go after the kitten. Stop killing scholars. scholars are an essential part of the Iridinod economy, insofar as it has an economy, which it doesn't. Possibly you use the ground as your other thing. I don't know. I'm not a bronze colossus.
Kittens, on the other hand, are an integral part of the Iridinod's method of getting everything done.
Well, yes, obviously. Here comes the bronze colossus.
Funk. Ooh, head drum.
Right, so shortly we will have the bronze colossus back where it's meant to be, having killed a random passing giantess. Right, so we want to stop it in the little cupboardy bit. We don't want it to just stand in the doorway, that's unhelpful. Right. Lock that door. Lock that door. Check that door is also locked. That means there is no way for the bronze colossus to get out. Right. Now I'll pull both of those levers in order to get things back into their usual state. No need for people to stay out of anything, and open the front door. Right, everything is back to some kind of sanity, except that something is rotting over there. Please dispose of the dead elk bird. People are at least somewhat collecting all the gems from the lower caverns. Yes, there are probably going to be some dead to be buried, aren't there? We're going to need to make some more space. Right, so you don't have a thing yet. Aban Ralusen. Wrong workshop. Where's my cursor gone? There it is. You were one of them. There's Abu Ralusen then. Aban Ralusen, right. They apparently have a memorial. Oh, right. Is Aban Ralusen... Is that Aban Ralusen's memorial? Yes, okay. So we can just remove that and then install it next to their coffin, which they have now been assigned. Eto Stakudam. That one. Tobul Inenzodom. And Odo Vabok thingamy. No. Kikrost Rigothcan.
something.
I wonder what I should do about extending the graveyard now. I mean, gremlins aren't very dangerous to me, but indeed it appears to be running away anyway. Just allow for retrieving all of the stuff that these bits of the vile force of darkness have left behind. Which I could do in bulk, but this is fairly simple. Mysteries of Conversations. Authored by Mincott Granite Ashes.
Of legend.
Thank you. It concerns using personal interviews as sources. The writing is throughout ornate and refined, and it is reasonably serious.
Yes, that was clearly a Nightmare War monster that appeared in the ship in Star Trek.
I'm not sure whether these. I think probably these scholars will not get buried, and we'll have to dispose of them the slightly more tedious way. The dwarf and the entangled buckles. Yes.
I've seen that video, it's quite disgusting.
Which is Mincott. Okay, we previously met books by Mincott Granite Ashes. This is a book about Mincott Granite Ashes.
Not this time, yes.
Indeed, the first book is about how the Mysteries of Conversations, the book we've got further down the mountain, was written.
Not like in the ordinary way with a
rather curiously, so is the second chapter. Apparently there's this
That's one of the reflections of the pro-examiner story.
they've accidentally written the same chapter twice.
On the other hand, hey, I mean, Book of Genesis.
Yes. Another book about Mincot granite ashes.
What is this, fan fiction?
First chapter covers the settling of the dwarf in truss bridges. The second chapter covers the apprenticeship of someone else under granite ashes. The third chapter is about yet another attempt at writing about the authoring of the Mysteries of Conversations. And the fourth chapter covers the independent discovery of discourse on the causes of historical events by the dwarf Mincot granite ashes.
Also, it's written on bobcat parchment. Will
Yeah.
not read again.
Yes. Also slightly bloodstained.
Extremely foxed.
I think possibly quite substantially bronze colossused. Hurrah! Someone is actually moving a copy of The Journey into Scraping. That's good. Like, it's nice to see that books don't always just sit on the mountainside forever. So, yes, our current graveyard is kind of slightly spread out over 2 levels here. And I've dug through a bunch of stone to make it bigger. Wondering if I should just start a second graveyard somewhere. Whether I should expand this one yet further. I mean, it makes things less confusing if everyone is buried in the same place. I think I should just go dig out one more row. And we'll start filling that with coffins. We have a memorial to someone we don't have a coffin for. It's a bit confusing. I'm beginning to get some understanding of the really weird bit described in the Dwarf Fortress wiki about how you could use ghosts to bring people back to life. Because I noticed that this coffin was owned by the ghost of the child while the ghost was active. And now that we've put the ghost down, it's now owned by the child again, which suggests that the child turned into a ghost and then turned back again. which means if you can manage to arrange for that to happen without the ghost vanishing, for instance, if it's off screen if it's not in the fortress at the time, maybe you could then, when it comes back, it will come back as not a ghost because it was de-ghosted at the point when it was memorialised. I understand. Yes. Well, I think it's kind of caused by the alive versus not alive flag and the ghost versus not ghost flag being independent. And when you kill something, it becomes not alive but also not ghost. Then when its ghost starts haunting, it becomes alive and ghost. And when you lay the ghost, it ceases being both alive and ghost. But if you can arrange that it is somehow not alive when you de-ghost it, and then something causes it to come back to become usefully alive again, where alive is not really alive, it's kind of animated or animate and on the map, then you can get it to return alive even though it wasn't alive or something. Anyway, shut up Harris. So are we actually managing to encrust things with gems now? It looks like we might be. Which is good because things that get encrusted with gems can then be are then, following my usual procedures, saleable. Right, it looks like we have at least some slabs engraved now. The right one, wasn't it? Yes.
Are you still forbidden from exporting rings?
No, we're currently forbidden from exporting ballista parts, which is a lot better. I think any remaining corpses upstairs are not going to get properly buried. I mean, that's Beak Dog anyway. So if we can find the dead scholars, we should arrange for them to be dumped so that the skeletons don't distress new visitors. Meanwhile, lots of nice undamaged clothing. Only slightly blood-stained.
Undamaged clothing of a mangled corpse. How did the corpse get mangled without any of the clothing getting damaged?
Really good clothing.
I mean, a corpse that was knocked cleanly on the head and undamaged clothing makes sense. But a mangled corpse?
I mean, it will depend. I think mangled here could be kind of we ripped their arm off, and you might be able to do that through the sleeve.
At the very least, without damaging the trousers, yeah.
Yes, I mean, certainly doing this, clothes frequently will be damaged by their owners getting into fights. You appear to have a artifact copper short sword here. That's nice. Don't know where that came from. well, yes. The Unthinkable Prince.
Hey, I'm playing that game.
Well, if anyone will actually move the bloody things into the library, yes, it will make the library much better. But people do seem to have a bit of a habit of just leaving stuff lying around outside. More books. Just decided that actually going through the stock list of corpses is probably the best way to find all the dead scholars. Now that one's in a coffin. Is it not the right colour or something? Oh yes, I want yellow ones, don't I? Or in a different square, Onul Vavoxikel's left hand, left mitten and left glove. So see, those were properly removed together. The game does understand that the left mitten and left glove are attached to the left hand and should go together. I'm looking for dead things. Those count as a stock and not not creatures or units. Not sure why that one was appearing in red.
It's also another assignment of tracts for Hippocrates. Yay! And also Hippocrates F tractor, but that's different. F. Good night. Bye bye.
That one I think is being disposed of anyway.
I just postponed Ben and restarted writing a message in Alpine and got the message unverified newsgroup header. Message may or may not have been posted. What? You heard that, David? What?
It look. Oh gods, that's embarrassing. I think someone went and walled themselves into the room I had asked someone else to wall themselves into, and then died of starvation. Because I wasn't paying attention. Sigh. Right, we should have lots of coffins now. Because you may remember ages ago, we constructed that bolt hole. And then it didn't work properly. But I don't think I ever cancelled its construction. Oh, I haven't been reading the memorials, have I? I should read some memorials. In memory, this is a nice simple one. Oh yes, because we've seen this one before. In memory of Aban Ralusen, born 169, crushed by a drawbridge in the year 173. They've now got a coffin. Does that mean we've actually managed to find any of their body? No. Okay. In memory of Wear Monitor Thikut Nechik, born 169, bled to death, slain by the beak dog Asno Vice plunged in Sulu Stop, the Dented Siege in the year 174. Next one's just about to arrive. In memory of Etus Takudem, born 111, struck down by the giantess Eta Gleamstance the Dutiful with Moth Common in the rampage of the giantess Eta Gleamstance the Dutiful in Rhythmgates in the year 174. In memory of Tobal Idin Ozom probably, born 120, struck down by the Bronze Colossus and Gumos Beast strikes the Chaos of Axes in the rampage of the Bronze Colossus and Gumos Beast strikes the Chaos of Axes in Rhythmgates in the year 174. Loving mother, lover of the poetry of rhythms. So there aren't that many burials to be carried out today. No, I think we could do better than that. Now that we found their body, we can get them one that actually doesn't just describe them as as having gone missing. In memory of Keatcroft Vigothcan, born 171, struck down by the Bronze Colossus, and Gumost Beast strikes the Chaos of Axes in the Rampage of the Bronze Colossus, and Gumost Beast strikes the Chaos of Axes in Rhythmgates in the year 174, united with Moonstone. No, Sarvesh Limultasis is the one you want. Oh dear. I mean, you were in the rubbish dump at the time, so it's not entirely surprising that someone dropped a corpse on your head. But the fact that you managed to get your hand crushed by someone dropping a dwarf corpse on you is slightly surprising. Do we actually have like any useful medics these days? We have a chief medical dwarf at least, who does have all the healthcare labours enabled, and so will probably, once they stop being distracted by putting books away and reading. Okay, I'm going to assign someone else some medical labours. We appear to have far too many other people in purple. Right. Usually you're lugging a corpse downstairs at the moment. Maybe I should have picked someone who wasn't in the middle of a dump item job. Oh, we'll see whether dumping a corpse or reading a book is more distracting from diagnosing patients. You never had this problem when our chief medical dwarf was a zombie. Sorry, a necromancer. Right, thank you. I mean, you don't know anything about diagnosing patients, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Ooh. I think they were not actually a zombie, and I was confused, and they were a necromancer. So, it wasn't quite that dangerous. I mean, we probably could get a chief medical dwarf death zombie at least. But our last death zombie didn't survive, plus they weren't actually a citizen. So yes, not a lot has actually happened this session, has it? Apart from a lot of mucking around with bronze colossuses. I presume that means that our miner is now patched up. Has had their wound cleaned, stitched, set, dressed and splinted. Feels guilty as a result. Like, doesn't feel anything after seeing Assad Thing's dead body, which was dropped on him. What are you doing now? You're still resting, right, that's fine. You have been injured. Hell, you're mildly lucky not to get accidentally crushed. Oh, do we consider giants to be butcherable? No, we're just throwing it, finally trashing the spare corpse. Probably operate the atom smasher. Okay, we don't actually have a slab for that one yet. Is this because we've run out of bookbinders again? That's usually the reason why we can't make memorial slabs. No, it's not. Excellent. Yes, sorry, that was because it was inappropriately constructed. Oh dear. What are these scrolls just lying around? People should pick them up and move them somewhere more useful. Okay, I can only actually move things there when there are traders around. Accidentally didn't read another memorial. In memory of Onul Faboxikel, born 52, struck down by the Bronze Colossus, and Gumos beast strikes the Chaos of Axes in the Rampage of the Bronze Colossus, and Gomos beast strikes the Chaos of Axes in Rhythmgates in the year 174. Outpost Liaison of the Rock of Fortune, 66 to 174. Slayer of Likot Rope Tombs, devoted father and husband. So that was our visiting outpost liaison, who unfortunately got killed by our Bronze Colossus. In memory of Sarvesh Limulastis, born 133, died of thirst in the year 174. Loving father and husband, lover of bucklers. Died of thirst because someone was a stoat and accidentally let him wall himself into a small room in the mountains. Let's see if anyone gets assigned to any of these things. No. Yes, obviously you can't actually use the ice in the walls to make yourself something to drink. That would just be too advanced. Actually, I think strictly, while it was in the wall, while the ice was in the form of walls, it is the kind of ice that could be melted if you could work out a way to heat it up. Which I don't think dwarves can do in fortress mode. Someone has got themselves caught in a cage trap. One of the cats has got caught in a cage trap. It's traditional when that happens for us to construct the cage in the zoo and then release the cat. Or, I mean, it's more usually a dwarf. Indeed, there's about a 50% dwarf. No, I thought there was a chance the dwarf would get themselves stuck in a trap down there, but no, that at least did not happen. So yes, our stockpile for the purposes of clearing out the junk that we find in the ballista alley does appear to be more or less working correctly. People are collecting the junk and taking it away. I think we should dispose of that spare beak. Rock, I think it was a rock beak, but we can't actually do anything with it, so... So we have Ngumos Beast strikes the Chaos of Axes left hand here. And this is one of the odd things that I don't think you can actually melt this down. Like, it weighs 3 tons. It's apparently 3 tons of solid bronze, but I don't think we can do anything with it. I feel we shouldn't just crush it. Yes. I'm now wondering if the other... Because I thought we had... Someone had pointed out that the Bronze Colossus's left leg was... That both of the Bronze Colossus's hands were missing. So I'm just wondering if we actually have the other hand available. Look like it. Display cabinets are awkward to make, aren't they? As you first have to make a window. And to make clear glass, we need something else. Be lazy and make it in green glass then. presume we have some incredibly underworked glassmaker. Yes, I shall construct a display case and stick the left hand of the bronze colossus in it, if I can. Possibly someone needs to be given the job of glass making. Hello. Just trying to work out if there's anyone on the surface. Look like there's anyone, at least not near to the entrance. Well, there's one. Oh, a very long way away. And a child, so the only way to get you inside is to summon everyone inside, but I don't think there's going to be enough time to get you in before that Minotaur gets to the front door. Well, we can try. Certainly heading in the right direction. So is the Minotaur. I should actually someone's working on it. Sorry to the small child, but the Minotaur was very close. We do apologise for that. Oh dear, there's another child. Was another child. just waiting for people to set up the ballista and catapult alley. I want to see if I can drop rocks on this thing's head using the catapults. Actually, we should also operate the ballista exit lever.
I had this exit visa, which was amusing.
It looks like the Minotaur doesn't... Oh no, here it comes. No, so it doesn't want to come in, but... No, it's left again. How annoying. Problem is, if I unlock the door between it and the Bronze Colossus, which will surely tempt it in, Bronze Colossus will get out through that door. So what we really want here, and then the Bronze Colossus will just take the Minotaur apart. What we really want here is another convenient kitten. That would involve installing more doors, and we don't currently have the tech for that. I'm only carrying on till we've got that display case set up anyway. Oh well. Damn it, the Bronze Colossus has got out. I was hoping I might be able to lock the Minotaur in before the Bronze Colossus moved. So that just sailed straight over the Minotaur's head. As is so often the way, my siege operators being inefficient and confusing. And in the time it took the siege operators to get themselves organised, the Bronze Colossus has already killed the Minotaur. So the Bronze Colossus started all right in that fight, and but the Minotaur, but did appear to be repeatedly slapping the Bronze Colossus in the head with a glove, and in other parts of the body too. But none of this was really very helpful. And then the Bronze Colossus, using its right upper leg, which is about all it has left, did succeed in repeatedly throwing the Minotaur until such time as the Minotaur gave in pain, at which point it got spotted. I believe we can't do anything useful with the Minotaur corpse, so... Someone is currently making us out a display case. Of course, we're going to need memorials to those two children, aren't we? Right, I think the display case has been manufactured. So now it is being installed. Yes, we should unlock the front door again, shouldn't we? And open the library again. Not that this tends to last very long, but... And we now have a display case containing the hand of a bronze colossus. You of course have most of the rest of a bronze colossus upstairs, and someone is hauling away the remains of that poor minotaur. So I think this is a good time to stop, because we know more or less what's going on. Oh, except that we need to carve. We've got 2 more people who need memorialising, haven't we? We should finish them. Looks like the slabs have been carved for them though, so I just need to get those in place. In memory of Medtob Fikod Matzang, born 168, struck down by the Minotaur, Bora take roasts the vomit of prestige in the Rampage of the Minotaur. Bora take roasts the vomit of prestige in Rhythmgates in the year 174. Lover of the beer of growing. No, forgot to read it. In memory of Astesh Rimad Merle, born 168, struck down by the Minotaur. Bora take roasts the vomit of prestige in the Rampage of the Minotaur. Bora take roasts the vomit of prestige in Rhythmgates in the year 174. Lover of earrings, which is someone who would have been very happy had they grown up in Rhythmgates and not been killed by Minotaur. So, yes, Claire, this is upstairs from this. This is deep underground, and this is near the surface, hence the shiny whiteness and all the snow. We've still got plenty of earrings, I can assure you. We currently have 328 available earrings in the fortress, and apparently 1 unavailable earring. Does appear to be a rather large pile of random gubbins on this square. Oh, I think that just means that one of the visitors is wearing an earring. What do you need to know? Oh, right, why one of them was unavailable. I think it's... So, there appear to be some... Yes, that are foreign, but that one I think is so that's a goblin bone earring. I think it's actually in the inventory of someone in the library. There. So I think a visiting goblin scholar is wearing a goblin bone earring, and obviously because they are not a member of the fortress, that earring is not ours. And goblins apparently make jewellery out of other goblins. So anyway, oh yes, we wanted to release a kitten, didn't we? Okay, that was probably the wrong cage to install there. Oh well. Either that or the kitten has died or something. So, yes, that will be all for today. We've accidentally dispatched a giantess and a minotaur and a bunch of scholars, and could possibly do with some slightly more efficient handling of our bronze colossus. And maybe to be able to kill invading creatures with something other than a bronze colossus, but the bronze colossus is terribly effective, even though it's kind of falling apart. Like, it has one functional part of limb, which is right upper leg. But it's still quite capable of killing almost anything we throw at it. So, yes, bronze colossus is quite terrifying. So that will be all for tonight. Good night, and I will see you on Sunday.